growing up as a twin is unique. You always have a partner in crime. You always have someone who just gets you. John and I have shared everything since before we were born. We shared birthdays, graduation, and even that awkward phase where we matched our outfits. But there is one thing I never thought we'd share: the chaos of multiples. There is a rumor flying around that John and Abbie are expecting not one, but 2 babies. And let me tell you, when I saw the photo, I laughed out loud, because I know John. I know that calm, steady pilot demeanor, and I know exactly what twin panic looks like behind his eyes. If anyone can handle double trouble, it's the guy who grew up with me. But John, get ready. Because if you think flying a plane is hard, try feeding 2 babies at 3 a.m. while Abbie is asleep. History has a funny way of repeating itself, doesn't it? Let's talk about why I think my twin brother is about to become a twin dad. People always ask me, Jana, do you have twin telepathy with John? And usually I just laugh and say no. But honestly, sometimes I think I do. We spent 9 months sharing a womb. We spent 18 years sharing a birthday cake. I know his happy face. I know his stressed face. And I definitely know his I am keeping a massive secret face. When I saw John at the big house last week, he had that look, the one where he is trying too hard to be casual. He was whistling. He was asking Dad about the double stroller in the warehouse. John never asks about strollers. He asks about planes. He asks about fuel prices. And then the photo dropped. The one with the 2 pairs of tiny pilot goggles. The internet went crazy, but I just smiled. Because for the first time in our family's history, the twin gene might have finally skipped a generation and landed right where it belongs. On my other half, John has always been the steady one, the bachelor till 28, the pilot. But if he is having twins, seeing my cool, calm brother outnumbered by 2 babies, that is going to be the most entertaining season of our lives. Let's talk about that photo. John and Abbie are private. They don't do things by accident. They don't accidentally leave clues in the background like some of my other siblings. Looking at you, Jessa. If John held up 2 pairs of goggles, it was a statement. I've seen the comments. Maybe one is for Gracie and one is for the new baby. Maybe it's just a backup pair. A nice try, guys. But look at the size. Those aren't toddler goggles. Those are newborn goggles. 2 of them, identical. In Duggar language, we love symbols. We love hinted announcements. And John knows exactly what he is doing. He is teasing us. He is letting the world know the cockpit is about to get very crowded. I remember when Mom had Jet and Jur. The shock of 2 heartbeats. I see that same shock on Abbie's face in the recent pictures. It's a happy shock, but it's definitely a how are we going to fit 2 car seats in a Cessna kind of shock. But there is a serious side to this too, and this is where my big sister worry kicks in. We all know Abbie had a really rough time with Gracie. She had HG, hyperemesis gravidarum. That's not just morning sickness. That is hospitalization sickness. When you have twins, your hormone levels are double, which means the sickness can be double. Abbie has been very quiet on social media for the last 3 months. In influencer world, silence usually means pregnancy. But for Abbie, silence usually means she is fighting to stay hydrated. I went over to their house a few weeks ago to drop off some meals. The house was dark. The curtains were drawn. John was running around trying to keep Gracie quiet. It broke my heart. John is a fixer. He wants to fix everything. But he can't fix HG. He can only hold her hand. If it is twins, Abbie is a warrior. Seriously. To go through that level of sickness for 2 babies. She is stronger than any of us Duggar girls. And John knows it. You can see the worship in his eyes when he looks at her. And here is the funny thing about John. He finds peace in the air. When things get crazy at the big house, With 19 kids screaming, John would just go to the hangar. He would fly away. Literally, but you can't fly away from twins. I told him, John, you are used to controlling a machine. You flip a switch, the engine starts. You pull a lever, the plane goes up. Babies don't have levers. And 2 babies. That's not a co-pilot situation, that's a mutiny. I'm picturing John trying to synchronize 2 feeding schedules like he synchronizes a flight plan. Okay, baby A is refueling at 0400 hours. Baby B is scheduled for a diaper maintenance check. He is going to try to systemize it. He is going to try to be efficient. And I cannot wait to watch those 2 little babies completely wreck his schedule. It's going to be chaotic, and honestly, it's going to be good for him. He needs to lose control a little bit. And then there is Dad. If you think the internet is excited, you haven't met Jim Bob Duggar. Dad is obsessed with numbers. We all know this. He loves the count. And grandchild Pui 31 and Pui 32 arriving at the same time, that is his dream scenario. It's efficient! It's a buy one get one free deal on Grandkids. I heard him on the phone the other day. He was already bragging. Yeah, looks like we got a double portion coming. He is already planning the photo op. He wants a picture of me and John holding the new twins. The first set holding the new set. It's marketing gold for him. But I hope he gives John and Abbie space. Twins are high risk. They are stressful. They don't need a camera crew in the delivery room. They need support. I told Dad, let them breathe. Let them figure out how to be a family of 4s or 5 before you start printing the T-shirts. He laughed, but I don't think he listened. He never really does when there is a milestone to celebrate. Okay, so if it is twins, the next big question is, what are they? In our family, gender reveals are basically a competitive sport. We've exploded things, we've flown planes, we've smashed cakes. But John is practical. I bet he already knows. My gut? I think it's 2 boys. John needs a crew. He needs little guys he can dress up in flight suits. Can you imagine? Captain John and his co-pilots. It would be adorable. But part of me secretly hopes for 2 girls. John is such a softie with Gracie. He braids her hair. He has tea parties. Seeing him wrapped around the fingers of 3 daughters. That would be poetic justice for all the times he teased me growing up. We actually have a betting pool going in the sibling group chat. Jessa thinks it's a boy and a girl. Jill thinks it's boys. And knowing Dad, he's probably hoping for boys to carry on the Duggar name. But honestly, as long as they are healthy, John won't care. He's just happy to be a dad. People forget that Abbie isn't just a Duggar wife. She's a nurse. An LPN. That changes everything. Most of my sisters, well, we grew up relying on lay midwives and herbal teas. And there is a place for that. But with twins, that's a medical event. Abbie knows the risks. She knows what preeclampsia means. She knows what to look for on an ultrasound. She isn't going to take unnecessary risks just to prove a point about natural birth. I think that gives John so much peace. He trusts her medical knowledge. If Abbie says, John, we need to go to the hospital, he won't argue. He'll have the car running in 10 seconds. It's refreshing, honestly, seeing a pregnancy in our family that is led by science and faith, not just faith alone. It makes me worry less. I know Abbie is monitoring herself like a hawk. You guys would pay money to see our family group chat right now. When the news started leaking, the notifications didn't stop. Jessa was immediately offering advice on how to handle multiples, even though she doesn't have twins. She has Irish twins, so she thinks she's an expert. Jill sent a long, sweet message about self-care and setting boundaries with visitors. She's always the protector. And Joy was just sending excited GFs. But there is a vibe, a different vibe. Usually, when someone announces a pregnancy, there is a little bit of competition. Who is due next? who has the biggest bump, but with John and Abbie, everyone is just a happy, genuine happiness. Maybe because they waited a bit between Gracie and this one. They didn't rush. They didn't treat it like a race. So now that it's happening, it feels special. It feels earned. Even the sisters who usually get jealous are rallying around Abbie. Here is the logistical nightmare. Where are they going to put them? John and Abbie live in a nice place, but it's not exactly a mansion. It's cozy. Fit 2 cribs, a changing table, and a toddler bed in there. Good luck. John is a builder, obviously. He can build anything. But building a house while your wife is pregnant with twins, that is a recipe for a nervous breakdown. I have a feeling they might be looking to move, and knowing John, he won't want to be right next door to the big house. He likes his privacy. He likes having a buffer zone between his front door and Dad's megaphone. I wouldn't be surprised if they buy a plot of land near the airfield, somewhere quiet, somewhere where the only noise is plane engines and crying babies. If they do move, I'll miss them. But for the sake of Abbie's sanity, I hope they get a place with thick walls and a guest room for me to come help. Finally, we have to talk about names. We have 19 kids with a J names. We have used them all: Josh, John, Jana, Jill, Jessa, Jinger. We scraped the bottom of the barrel with Jinger. Sorry, Ginge. John and Abbie started with Gracie. No J, thank goodness. So for the twins, I am praying they stick to their own path. If they name them Jet and Jetty or something pilot themed starting with Ja, I might scream. I think they will go classic. Maybe biblical, but not Duggar biblical. Or maybe aviation themed. Maverick. A sky. Actually, knowing John, he probably hasn't even looked at a baby name book yet. He's probably reading the manual for the double stroller. But Abbie has a list. And I guarantee you, a Jim Bob Jr. is not on it. We need to talk about the math. John is frugal. He's a Duggar, after all. He saves his money. He buys used vehicles. He fixes things himself. He's smart. But you can't really budget hack twins. I remember when Jessa had her kids close together. The amount of diapers, it's staggering. It's a mountain. With twins, you are burning through 20 diapers a day. You need 2 car seats. You need a stroller that costs more than my first car. I wonder if John is sweating the finances a little bit. Pilots make good money, but they aren't reality TV star rich anymore. The show is gone. The easy checks are gone. I picture John sitting at his kitchen table late at night, calculator in hand, trying to figure out how to pay for double college tuitions in 18 years. It's a good thing he's a hard worker, because he is going to be picking up a lot of extra charter flights to pay for this double blessing. Now, my favorite topic, Gracie. Gracie is, she's the queen. She is an only child right now, and she knows it. She has John wrapped around her little finger. She has Abbie's full attention. If twins arrive, her world is going to flip upside down. I've seen this happen a dozen times. The firstborn syndrome. They are excited at first. Yay, a baby! But then the babies come home. And they cry. And they take mom's lap. And they touch the toys. Gracie is sweet. But she has a little bit of sass, which I love. I can just see her standing with her hands on her hips, looking at 2 crying babies, and saying to John, "Okay, Daddy, you can take them back now. It's going to be an adjustment." John is going to have to be super intentional about Gracie time. Otherwise, we might have a little mutiny on our hands. But knowing Gracie, she'll probably end up bossing the twins around by the time they can crawl. She's definitely got management material written all over her. So, when do we get the official confirmation? If this was 10 years ago, there would be a People magazine cover next Tuesday. Duggar double surprise! But John and Abbie, they operate on pilot time, which means they tell you when they are ready and not a second before. They waited until Gracie was almost here before they announced her. They like their privacy. My guess, they won't announce until Abbie is showing significantly. Maybe even until the 3rd trimester. They want to make sure everything is safe. They want to avoid the stress of millions of strangers commenting on her belly size every week. So don't hold your breath for a flashy Instagram post tomorrow. But do keep an eye on John. If you see him buying 2 cribs at the hardware store, well, that's your confirmation right there. I have to mention the pressure from the top. Dad knows that twins equals ratings. I know we don't have a TV show anymore, but Dad is always pitching. He's always thinking about the next special, the next YouTube documentary. The first Duggar twins is a headline he wants to sell. I can feel the tension already. Dad wants to film the gender reveal. He wants to film the nursery setup. He probably wants to be there with a GoPro when the water breaks. But Abbie is not having it. She is one of the few in-laws who has stood her ground. She drew a line in the sand years ago. My medical life is private. I am cheering her on. I really am. But I know it's hard to say no to Jim Bob Duggar when he is smiling and talking about ministry opportunities. I just hope John stands in the gap. He needs to be the bouncer. Sorry, Dad, no cameras in the delivery room. This isn't season 12 of 19 Kids and counting. You know. Looking at John and Abbie, I realized something. They are the happiest couple in the family. Why? Because they stopped performing. They don't post every day. They don't try to be influencers. They have real jobs. They have real friends outside the cult. I mean, outside the circle. If they have twins, those babies are going to have the best shot at a normal life. They won't grow up with a camera lens in their face. They won't have to do talking heads explaining how much they love tater tot casserole. John and Abbie have built a bubble of normalcy, and fitting 2 more babies into that bubble is going to be tight, but it's going to be safe. And honestly, that makes me more proud of my twin brother than anything else. He broke the cycle of exploitation, he chose peace over fame, and that is the best gift he can give those babies. You know, for 30-something years, it was always John and Jana. We were a set, the older twins. When John got married, it was a huge adjustment for me. I lost my wingman. But now, if he has twins, it feels like the circle is closing. I'm not the other half of his duo anymore. His kids are the new duo. There is something really beautiful about that. He is creating his own little team. He is passing that twin bond down to the next generation. I hope his twins have what we had. I hope they have the secret language. I hope they defend each other on the playground. I hope they are best friends. Because, honestly, surviving the Duggar childhood was only possible because I had John. And if his kids have each other, they are going to be just fine. I'm officially retiring from being the twin and accepting my promotion to the Anne of Twins. It's a pretty good gig. I have a vision of the future. I see David walking into church. He has a diaper bag strapped to his back. He has Gracie holding his leg, and he is carrying 2 infant car seats, 1 in each arm, like they are light as feathers. And he isn't sweating. He isn't stressed. He's just smiling that goofy John smile. John was born for this. He doesn't get rattled. When the twins are screaming in stereo, John will just start humming. When there is a blowout diaper on a road trip, John will pull over and treat it like a pit stop at the Indy 500. Precision, speed done. Abbie is the heart of that home, but John is the anchor. I truly believe God gave them twins because he knew John's shoulders were broad enough to carry them. He is going to be the best dad those kids could ask for. Abbie, if you are listening to this, and knowing you're probably too busy chasing a toddler to listen to podcasts. I just want to say you got this. I know it's scary. I know the pregnancy is hard. I know the idea of 2 newborns is terrifying, but you aren't doing it alone. You have John, and you have me, and you have an army of sisters who are literally fighting over who gets to babysit first. Don't let the pressure get to you. Don't let Dad's excitement overwhelm you. Lock the door, turn off your phone, and just be a mom. You are already a superhero for what you are going through physically. Just keep your eyes on the finish line. Those 2 babies are going to be worth every single second of nausea. So, the $1,000,000 question, do I know for sure? I'm a Duggar. We are trained to keep secrets until the contract says we can speak. But let's just say this. That photo with the goggles, it wasn't a mistake. And the twinkle in John's eye, that's real. If I were a betting woman, I'd say get ready for double the announcements, double the gender reveal, and double the joy. The clues are all there. You just have to look at them through twin goggles. Thanks for letting me spill the tea. Or at least sip the tea with you guys. I'm going to go text John now and tell him the internet is onto him. He'll probably just laugh and go fly his plane. If you guys are excited for the potential Twin 2.0 era, let me know. Do you think it's boys, girls, a mix? Keep praying for Abbie. She needs it. And keep watching this channel because trust me, when the news drops, you're going to want to be here to say, I told you so. This is Jana signing off. Over and out.